But let's just set the record straight. Is it Urable or is it Urable?
Yeah.
It is Urable.
Welcome to the Detailing Down Under podcast, the place for everything auto detailing in Australia right now. Here's your host, Dale Guthrie.
G'day and welcome to the Detailing Down Under podcast. I'm your host, Dale Guthrie. Once again, I'm here with Joe. Good
Hey, mate.
morning, mate. How you going?
Good morning, rise and shine.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice and
How's
early
the...
for you.
It's not too bad. Pretty standard these days.
Yeah, pretty standard. Yeah, got
Yeah.
used to it by now. Nah, it's
No.
good here, man. Sun's out, guns out. It's all happening. So,
Yep.
really busy detailing. How about you?
Yeah, flat out. Yep. Things are, yeah, they are pretty getting booked out. It's good. So,
Mainly wrapping, mainly PPF, or
yeah, yep.
yeah,
Yeah,
cool,
that's taken off a few big jobs. So that's really good. And
nice.
yeah, so I haven't been talking to too many people lately, which I normally do, but no, it's been good. But yeah, been working on this one as well for a
Yeah,
while. This is one of your ideas, so and they are quite known in Australia now, which is pretty cool. So yeah, we're heading to Pennsylvania this morning. So Michael Abens from Urable. Good morning, mate, or good
How you
afternoon as well.
doing? Yeah, nice afternoon here. I appreciate you guys getting up early for me.
Nah, it's what we're gonna do these days. It's all good. So
so it's like 6:30, 7 a.m. here in Australia, and it's about 3:30 p.m. the day before in the US where you are right now. So
Yep.
we did try to do this yesterday, but me and my amazing maths, I messed up the time difference. So yeah, apologies. Sorry about that, Michael.
Oh,
Um,
no worry. It's a big world.
it is a big role. But let's just set the record straight. Is it Urable or is it Urable?
yeah,
It is Urable.
You're
You know,
able.
like you,
Okay.
yeah, the original genesis of it was, we wanted to come up with a made up word, like Uber. Like nobody knew what Uber was until they
Yep.
created that brand, right? So we wanted to come up with something that was, short, easy to remember, but also something that had a connotation to it.
Yep.
So you're able to run a business. You're
Yes.
able to
Yes.
do this. You're able to have a life. So you're able ended up being it. So we went through all the trademarking, exercises we had to do in all the various countries that we operate in, to go ahead and secure that. It's a great brand name. We love it.
It is really good, and I'm going to endeavor to not say it the wrong way in the
Oh,
podcast.
that's all right. We've heard everything. Urable's the fun. That's the one we like the most. Urable's friggin' awesome. I think we should
Your
rename it.
Ablay.
Urable. It just sounds
Yeah,
exotic and
just
cool,
rolls off
right?
the tongue. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? That's so good.
that's good.
Oh
So,
man.
oh, well, for those who are probably not aware of the whole business and the products behind it, Michael, can you probably explain a bit? And it's getting quite popular in Australia, as we just spoke about as well. So that's even better. So for those who have no idea what we're talking about, um, yeah, please explain.
Yeah, so Urable is it's a brainchild of myself and my two kids, my son Kyle and my daughter Chris. It is a business management software that we built specifically for detail businesses. So businesses doing window tint, PPF, ceramic coatings, interior, exterior details, all that kind of work. And the only reason it exists is because I am a consumer of these goods and services. I'm a car enthusiast. You might be able to tell, oh, you can't quite see it, but I've got track outlines back here on the wall.
Oh yeah.
I like to race my cars. So I was a frequent flyer, in high-end detail shops. And as a business executive at the time, I just looked at it through a consumer's lens, and I realized, I loved the services that I was getting, but it was clear to me that the places I was going to, they didn't know how to run their businesses well. So scheduling was always problematic. They're handing me a handwritten receipt for $3,500, and it's like, what was it, 1960 again?
Yeah.
It's like, so I really felt like the services were up here, but the customer experience was down here. It was incongruent, and I thought, oh my gosh, when the kids, came up with the idea to start a software company and focus on niche-oriented businesses. I was the one that said, let's do automotive detailing. I'm pretty sure we could help everybody just run better, lead better lives, learn about automation, finally bring people back into the business instead of constantly looking for the next new customer to acquire. It was
Mm.
relentless. I don't know what it was like for you guys, but over here in the United States, oh my God, the focus was like 100% on new customer acquisition. And there
Yeah.
was no focus at all given on your customer base and bringing them back in. So just, as a business executive at the time, and then I retired and the kids came up with this idea, I just thought, oh my God, we can kill it. We can just kill it in this industry, bringing some big business thinking into this, niche-oriented industry. And hell, that was 7 years ago. We're 7 years old now. It's unbelievable.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, March 1st, we turned
Oh, that's
7 years
good.
old. Yeah, so super fun. But I've been part of big companies, and I just saw how big companies solve business challenges with good like systems approaches. Lots of automation, things that carry a lot of weight for a business. So I just tried to bring that stuff into this industry, and it's been a rocket ship ride ever since.
I bet.
Were you worried, like being trying to get into a niche market? Were you worried that it probably wouldn't take off as much as you thought it would? Like, because we are quite niche in what we do. Industry's
Oh
niche.
yeah, I mean it's super
Yeah,
niched.
yeah,
And when I talk to my financial advisors and whatnot, because I had retired. Just as a little background on me, I was 30 years in healthcare, and the last 10 was running a really specialized medical practice in the United States. And we took that company over when it was just a failing little business here in Philadelphia that got bought by private equity. They put a couple guys in charge of the company. It was 25 years old when they
Wow.
purchased it from the founder. And these two guys killed that company in 18 months.
Oh no.
So if you wonder what leadership can and
Yeah.
can do to a business, wow, those guys crushed that company in 18 months. So the private equity guys that bought it, they recruited a buddy of mine out of another company and a big healthcare company here in the U.S. And then he took over as the CEO, and then treated me to a little sushi dinner and talked me into leaving my job. I just got done launching Symbicort in the United States. That's $1 billion brand. I
Yeah.
just got done launching that in the United States, and and he's trying to tell me, I think you should quit. I think you should quit and come over here and help me save this company, and ultimately I did. Um, and 4 years later, after the company was worthless when we took it over, we grew it into the largest provider of what's called intrathecal drug therapy in the United States and sold it for $200 million.
Wow.
So that shows you what good leadership can do,
Yeah.
right? With a good idea, good vision, and execution. But through that whole process, I had to create stuff that just didn't exist because no one had tried to do this area of medicine at scale. So it took a lot of work. There was no blueprints to follow, no roadmap because no one had done it. So it meant doing a lot of problem solving, building a lot of systems that didn't exist. I'm not an IT guy. I was the president of the company. So I'm more of a strategist, a business strategist. So I had people to build these systems for me. But that was a ton of work. So that wore me out. I did that for 10 years at that company until I retired. And then, the kids. So I retired in what was it? October of 17. So they gave me like a handful of months off, right? And then they came up with this idea, like at the dinner table, hey, Dad, we're thinking about doing this thing. Would you want to come out of retirement and help us out? And then I picked detailing as the market to tackle. And Dale, the my financial advisors, because they're looking at me like, okay, you're not working anymore, dude. You aren't making the big money. You're pulling all the money out of savings to live now. Are you sure you want to get into this kind of thing? Because man, most of these types of businesses will fail, and they
Yeah.
cost you a ton of money to get into. So they damn near were talking me out of it. But I got to tell you, I felt like it was going to be a huge success. I really did because I love entrepreneurs. They're willing to take the risk and play without a safety net. I did the same thing when I took over Pentec Health, and I just have a real appreciation for that. But I just felt like these are folks that, and I don't mean this, begrudgingly, but they don't know what they don't know.
Mm.
I had a huge, long career at big companies like DuPont, Merck, AstraZeneca, these worldwide places. So I got exposed to an awful lot of stuff, and I mean, that was, lucky on my part. But I just thought these guys don't know what they don't know. And I'm pretty sure I could help them with all this stuff I've learned, over 30 years, and so I felt like it was going to be a success. So I didn't listen to the naysayers and we just friggin' went for it, you know?
That's so good.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
who?
Well, if you're going to do it, you got to do it like you mean it too. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like so many people, they go into something with a lot of trepidation and a lot of doubt. And this goes true for, people wanting to get into the detailing industry too. If you're gonna do it, freaking do it. Like you
Yeah.
mean it. Don't like lay down a bunt, right? You want to freaking go after it.
Yeah.
So put the processes in place that set you up for success. Just do the nuts and bolts, and then just at the end of the day, do the damn work.
Yeah.
That's what we did. We rolled our sleeves up and just did the work. We didn't know anybody. And I mean, I knew like three, four guys, that I'd take my cars to. That was it.
And did they sign
Uh,
up?
well, they've been with us since the beginning. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
still with
yeah.
us today.
So I've got so many questions. But let's start with this. So you're not a techie. You're not into
Mhm.
coding and stuff. So who in the family was? Like
Oh, so
who?
that's Kyle. So
Okay,
Kyle's
wicked.
the coder. It was back in the day, every family should have like a plumber and an electrician,
Yes.
right? Well, now it's like every family should have a coder,
Yeah, yeah.
somebody who knows how to
Very
program.
true.
Uh, So yeah, Kyle is the coder and he's written all of it, all the code. Everything is done in-house. We don't farm anything out. It's a longer process to develop stuff doing
Mm,
it in that way. But at the end of the day, it's better. And that's a thing I learned through my career. Because early in my career with DuPont, my brother and I actually came up with a system that really hit the center of the bullseye. And it was for, one of the drugs that DuPont Pharmaceuticals had at the time. And I was just trying to make sure that everybody that could medically benefit from this drug would get it. Um, and the doctors were reluctant to prescribe it because of the risks associated with it. It's great therapy, but you got to really stay on top of it and manage it. I came up with the idea of automating it. And my
mm.
brother was getting his master's degree actually in coding. And I'm like, this is before the internet, right? So I'm like picking up my dial phone. Hey, Tom, what do you think? You want to help me build this system? I got an idea. And we did. And that system ended up changing an area of medicine. It's probably even used down in Australia because it went worldwide. They branded it, DuPont branded it under KumaCare. It's a software system that runs these anticoagulation clinics all over the world. So we did that way back in the day. So no, I'm not an IT guy. I'm not a coder. I'm a pretty good systems engineering kind of person. Like I'm pretty good at connecting the dots and seeing things far out and then understanding what the steps are that I need to put in place to get there. So like if I've got a superpower, that's kind of it for me. I'm very good at connecting the dots, starting with the end in mind, and then just figuring out what are the steps that get me there.
Wow. You definitely have been like, yeah, you've definitely been around for a while. You've seen a lot, you've done a lot of experience. especially right up there with massive organizations. I want to ask a question and then Dal, you jump in. So, what does it look like financially to build an app or build a software? Like, do you mind explaining this a little bit, giving us a little bit of understanding of like how much money did you have to pump into this just to get this thing off the ground and running?
It wasn't all that terrible. Probably, I think I started it with like 280 or 300,000, something like that, to kind of get it off the ground.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
So you probably just
if
gave
you're
some people
gonna,
a heart attack then.
Yeah.
Like, so
well,
that's about 500,000 Australian.
yes, no, but it's like if you're gonna do this, you
Yes.
really have to put things in place because
Mm.
I built it on the premise of success. I didn't start it tiny and
Yep.
then grow it to, in anticipation of success. I built it, the infrastructure is primarily what I'm talking about. And it's so over-engineered because I built it more like a healthcare company than a system to run detailers. Talking the security is nuts. It
Oh yeah.
scales infinitely. It can run anywhere on the planet. I don't care where you're at. There's no latency. So this is all the kind of stuff that you just need to put the money in, and you need to get your shit together, right? So that it can scale. Because ultimately, my feeling was, and this is something I learned from Pentech as I scaled that business, my feeling was there are going to be a lot of people that are going to rely on this system for their livelihood. And I don't take that kind of thing lightly. So if I am going to get into something, I am going to spend the money that is required to do it and do it right. So that's how we did it. So
Okay.
yeah, it's not a small investment, and now I mean I just closed the month. Our expenses would give most people a heart attack in 1 month. 200 grand, 210
Wow.
in 1 month was expenses. So
Wow.
it's like now it's not kidding around. Now it's real money. I mean, we've processed, I think, $1.5 billion through the system now. So, when you're talking about those types of numbers, you don't make mistakes. Everything's got to be tight. It's got to be compliant, and it's got to be dependable, right? I mean, we've never been down ever. And I don't
Mm.
think we'll ever go down. I mean, knock on wood. But I mean, if our system goes down, it means that there's been a worldwide calamity and we all got bigger problems than detailing.
Yeah, yeah, true.
Did you work with many or and still do with a certain amount of details to improve the product from the start?
Oh,
Did
at
you work
first,
with
yeah,
a
we recruited, and that was primarily me and Chris, my daughter. She's a great systems engineer too. She's not a coder. She's just super sharp, very good about Lean Six Sigma type methodologies, that kind of stuff, being efficient. So we recruited about 30 businesses. Because I mean, I recognized some of the issues just as a consumer, but I'm seeing this much of the market,
Mm.
you know. So we recruited one man bands, out of the back of their van. We recruited big shops with multiple bays, 30 employees, and then kind of everything in between. So we really tried to get a good kind of operational point of view on what are the big things that we need to get right before we can even commercialize it.
Mm.
So we started doing that in early 18. By the time we got to about the end of 2018, we really felt like we had the infrastructure nailed down. So it took that much time. I mean, we didn't really commercialize Urable until 2019 in November is
Oh,
really about the first time we pulled the trigger. So up to that point, you are pouring money because there's no revenue. You're just pouring money and you're, investing, making sure that the thing is going to take a punch when it needs to. And then we launched it 2019 at SEMA, and it's been a rocket ship ever since, quite honestly. I mean, and nobody really knew us, but there was such a need. Once people started getting the idea of what Urable was all about, they were like, holy hell, like it's the real deal, So then more and more people started getting on it, and then the word of mouth went, and then it was just crazy, crazy now.
Um, we'll talk about details. You mentioned that one man band show thing, so we're quite interested. Just me and Joe, sort of one man band set up. So it's quite interesting on how that would work for us. Like, um, yeah, we're quite
Well,
small. Yeah,
it's a challenge, right? It's a real challenge as a software developer to build a system that is, approachable enough for, an owner operator, but robust enough to handle a shop doing 10, 15
Yeah.
million dollars a year, right? With 50 people working for them. I mean, that's a pretty big spread for, a system to be able to handle everything in between. So that's all, hats off to Kyle. He's a brilliant developer. So he built the system in such a way that most people, even the big shops, they pretty much run their company right off their phone,
Yeah.
which is just a mind-blowing thing for me because I'm, more of the corporate, computer side of
Yeah.
things. The idea of me to like run Pentech Health from my phone is so foreign to me. But now I look at how these businesses are running and they do most of it right from their cell phone. And it's just crazy that technology has progressed to such a point to be able to do that. It's really amazing. But you
So
also got to write a system that can do it,
yeah.
So like the native app that runs on either Android or iOS, that is a fully functioning mobile version of what you'd get on your desktop. Like a lot of systems, the approach they take is to have something super robust and complicated for a desktop, but then they strip it all down for mobile. We couldn't do that because we recognize so many people are working in the field, right? They're doing mobile jobs. So it's like this thing needs to be fully functional on a mobile app. So that was the challenge that we had in front of us. But we did it.
Like your software is so it's just been so well planned out. So to give context, when I was the owner of Clean Getaway Car Detailing, we had Urable, and we had a workshop, and it was fantastic because I loved where I could send a text. It would automatically text customers like 3 days before, one day before, and then the morning of, and but I could text them their drop off time, which was different to when the boys would actually start the car, which was like game changing because a lot of apps didn't do that. And the way that you could schedule jobs into different columns, you could send text message reminders after to like leave a Google review. They were automated. You could set what times. You could set send messages to remind people like 6 months after to come in for a detail. Mention this or set something for a year's time, and very specific for different types of services too. So a text for a PPF job would be different to a detailing job.
Mhm.
Um, and just and also you could send quotes and invoices and all these things. You've like tried to take care of every step of the process as well as having an online calendar, all those things. So I want to know. So in a workshop, that's fantastic. So when for someone who's a one man band, and they might be coming from the mindset of like, mate, I don't need a software. Like I'm good enough. I can just do it myself. Not trying to say that you're trying to get every detail on the planet to use Urable, but how would you encourage or challenge them or to say like, hey, this is why I believe Urable would actually really benefit not just your business but your customers as well, which would then benefit you as the business owner. What would you say to them?
Uh, so much of it is learning how to value your own time.
Okay.
Because you know what, and let me just preface this, like, and this goes for my kids too. We are systems advocates as much as we are Urable advocates. So whether somebody likes Urable versus some other system, get something in place. Because if you were the one-man band that's trying to do everything from memory, like all the little things you just rattled off, all those little nuancy kind of things, those are the things that get forgotten
Yeah.
when you're an owner operator, right? So like you can have the system paid for in literally one job that you get to come back in from one automated reminder, right?
Yeah.
Right? So it's not that people don't want to do that level of follow-up to try and bring people back in. It's that they don't have the time to do it or the system in place to do it. Like if you do a ceramic coating, I bet you couldn't if you didn't have a system in place. There's no way you'd be able to know 6 months from now who you should be reaching out to bring
Mm,
back in, right? Because you're living your life, right? You're running like crazy. You're on the hamster wheel. You're doing everything you can do. You're not thinking about what you did 6 months ago.
yeah.
You automate that stuff, right? So I think it's a matter of getting people to get out of their way a little bit, and understand how the system works for them and takes a pretty heavy load off of them. In particular, like if you're in a shop location, not mobile, if you're in a shop location, no call, no shows. Man, they freaking kill you,
Yeah.
right? Because you don't have any ability to fill that. So that's lost revenue. Automate that stuff with the little automated things like you just talked about, Joe. Hit them
Mm,
up a couple days ahead, hit them up the day of, hit them up an hour ahead, whatever you want to do. You just tell the system to do it. But that's so worth it, right? Because that is ensuring revenue, and that's got its own value.
yeah.
So I encourage everybody to get a system in place, whether it's your able or something else. Get something. Don't try and go this alone. You're just setting yourself up for failure and burnout, quite honestly. You're because it's hard.
Yeah.
Being an entrepreneur is not for the weak or the timid, right? I mean, it's hard. You're playing without a safety net, so give yourself the best chance for success.
We want to know what your favorite feature is of your Able, if that's even
Oh my
it's
God.
even because for me, I really liked how when we would book someone in, they're locked in, they'll get a text message straight away that they've been booked in. And so, first of all, I believe it really makes the customer feel like, oh, wow, I'm actually in their system. This is professional. Like, I know I'm locked in. I haven't just been scribbled down on a piece of paper or like put in I'll lock them in later mode. We've all done that and have forgotten customers when we try to just rely on ourselves. But I really liked how that text
Sticky
message,
notes.
yeah, sticky notes, long live the sticky note. And we would include a video. And so I filmed a video of where to come, like how to enter our driveway, because we'd have people that would just, as if they were trying to, just fly up our driveway. So just how to enter the driveway, right, where to park, or where to go. And people would like call us and say, I just got your text message with your video, and thank you so much. You guys are so professional. Like how you think of that, and that's so good. And it's not something I thought of. It was because of your Able. It made me think, how can I be different to other companies? And it really helped set us apart. And from day one, people knew that we were a serious operation, which I thought
Yeah.
was all kudos to your Able. So, what's your favorite feature? What do you think is just the
Well,
best? Or yeah,
yeah, I mean,
if you
I'll
have one.
zero in on one because I'm really geeky about one particular thing that the system does. But you really hit on it though. The best thing it does is by all of the little nuancy features that really come from you guys, comes from the community. We just happen to build it,
Yeah,
for you. Um, it's those nuances that make you look so professional and separate you from the guys that are racing to the bottom,
Mm.
right? You should be charging a premium because you're giving a premium customer experience. So that's what I love about your Able is that the whole thing, all the individual little nuances, they all work together to make you look great to your
yeah,
customers, right? And charge a friggin' premium for it, right? Get the money that you're worth, right? So that's kind of just the broad brush of it. But if I had one particular thing that I really love about Urable, it is the workflows. It is the coolest thing since sliced bread. And you don't see this kind of thing at this price point.
Yeah.
It's so freaking complicated and such a heavyweight. Like this thing saves so much time, money, and effort. It is ridiculous. So let me explain what workflows are if you guys aren't familiar. So, and we really pushed Kyle on this because I was really hyping this because I wanted this bad because we had it at Pentec Health, but that system cost $2.5 million for us to buy and $3.5 million to customize. Okay,
Wow.
and I'm like, Kyle, we were going to build this into your able, so just wrap your head around that, right? So workflows, it's kind of like playing dominoes, where you tell the system like what your perfect customer experience is. And all you have to do is just line the dominoes up in the system, and then all you do is just knock over the first one. And then the system just lets the rest of them tumble over. So as a really specific example, because this happens every day, everybody loves this workflow. You start out with a proposal. So you build like a group of offers. They're competitive quotes, really, good, better, best kind of thing, right? So maybe it's a PPF job and you're doing a front partial and you're doing a whole front clip and then you're doing like the third offer is the whole car. So good, better, best kind of thing. All you do as a business is create that proposal and send it. That's all you do. And then the system kind of just pays attention and listens to see if there's any activity on that. So it's waiting for the customer to like make a selection, like which one did they want to pick. So as soon as they select, the system sees that and then it goes on, well, what do you want me to do next? Oh, well, let's collect a deposit on that. Okay. So the system automatically sends out a payment request for a very specific deposit based on the criteria that you set. And then the system sits there and waits until it gets that payment. So then it waits, and if it doesn't get it, it nudges the customer a couple days, right? Hey, you owe me that deposit. And so then once that deposit comes in, the system says, okay, what do you want me to do next in this workflow? Well, let's send them out a calendar so they can schedule their own job. So the system sends them out a calendar that lets that customer schedule that job. They go ahead, they schedule that thing, it's booked in. Now they get the short term, they get the schedule reminder, they get the lead up messages that get them to come in. And then when they're done and you complete that job, then the system says, okay, that's done. Now I will go ahead and send a payable invoice out for the remainder and ask for a tip. So all of that happened automatically just because you sent a proposal. You didn't need to lift a finger to do any of that. System collected a deposit, it scheduled them, the job was completed, and it sent out the payment request with a tipping function added to it. And now they're queued up for all the long-term messages, right? So maybe in 3 months later, they get another text. You didn't need to do a darn thing but send a proposal. I love workflows. Workflows are freaking awesome, man. And there's so many different routes you can go because you decide what is the customer journey you want to offer your clients. And you just build it and tell the system to just freaking do it for you. I mean, it's like the perfect assistant. Never calls in sick, never takes a day off.
Oh, the dream.
It is the dream. It costs you like nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, like I'm just to give people like an idea. So the express version, which would be perfect for anyone with just will you tell me the express membership, what would that be best suited for? What
Yeah,
kind of
that's
business?
probably best for a smaller operation where you just really want to make sure that you deal with any no call, no shows. And at least you look like you've got your act together and the system is there to protect you in
Mm,
the case of like customer disputes and things.
yeah.
Right, so that one that gets you your short-term messages around the appointment itself. You can send your on my way message if you're a mobile guy, and that pulls in actual traffic patterns and everything. It gives an actual ETA. So a
Mm.
super professional feel for the customer. That also lets you do inspection photos, so before and after type things. Super important to go ahead and document any damages before you start working on a car, and send that off to the customer for, we call that an approval, inspections and approvals. They go ahead and sign off on that and says, yep, that scratch was there. Not going to blame you for that later on.
Yeah.
And then, go ahead and all the fancy payment stuff that goes along with it, all that comes on all the plans. So that's Express. Pro gets you more of the heavy hitting features, the long-term service specific reminders. So
Yeah.
a group of messages, it's a drip campaign is really what it is
Yeah.
to bring people back in. But very specific based on what they bought. So if they got a PPF job done, they're going to get a specific set of messages. If there was a ceramic coating job that was done, they're going to get a specific set of messages, all to bring them back in or sell, aftercare products to them through your virtual shop. And then Enterprise is the big dog. Enterprise gets you the stuff like workflows, line item scheduling for really big operations. That's important. That's more of a project management kind of thing because it lets you take like a 4-day job, and break it up into the individual components and what resources are needed for that. So maybe, it's going to be in the PPF bay for, 2 days. And then it's going to
Yeah.
be in the tint bay over here. And then maybe it's in a ceramic coating bay. So you can kind of stage it
Yeah.
around and
That's
assign
really
resources
important for a
as well as
workshop.
people.
Yeah, because if
Yeah,
you're doing a full body wrap and you might have a disassembly time, or like literally a
right.
weeding time, like you're literally a
Yeah.
bay for weeding film, like you're weeding film, you actually don't have the car in the shop, tinting, everything. Yeah, so it's so like to give like our listeners in Australia, most of our listeners are in Australia, like to get started on the Express is only $66 a month Australian. And that includes your texting, your automatic texting and stuff like for bookings, reminders, I should say,
Yep.
sorry. So it's just such good value for money. Yeah, it's so
Yeah,
hard
the pro
to
plan gets you into the virtual shop, which is really key. Because look, everybody likes doing things online now. Look, we all buy our food online now. It's getting delivered to your house.
mm,
All of this stuff, right? It's a different world now. Everybody wants to be able to book things online. So make that a good process. So the virtual shop, you get into the virtual shop, on the pro level. Um, Pro
and
level
what's
is
that
by
again?
far the most popular.
Explain how the virtual shop works.
Virtual Shop is our online booking, as well as e-commerce site. So you can
Okay.
sell products through that as well as have your customers book online.
Oh, great.
Super sophisticated system. Like I can't even get into that thing. That thing is so complicated now because every little nuance has to be dealt with. So we let you book to your capacity, but not overbook. So we really manage your calendar on your behalf when customers are booking through the virtual shop. We just don't let them swamp the operation. We really are careful about what we allow them to book and when.
Yeah, wow.
That is
It's
that is probably the most complicated thing in the entire system. Like for real, because we got shops that'll do both mobile and in shop, and they have different capacities in those two things. And then some of them are like, but I only offer tint on Wednesday afternoons. So I can't have people booking a tint job on like a Tuesday because my guy's not here. Like they use a contractor.
yeah.
So the system has to handle all of these complexities. It is really complicated, but we've done it,
That's mind-boggling. There's so many everyone has so many different problems, like because they have different setups of their workshop, or yeah, like you just
Oh,
said, they
it's
could be
it's
mobile
incredible.
as
I
well.
mean, and we kind of knew it going into it, but it's 10 times more now that we're in it. Like for real. Like it's 10 times more complicated than it was when we started out. And
Mm.
it's because there's so many different operating models now. And the community, God bless them. We love the friggin' Urable community. And I mean, we probably set ourselves up with this right from the beginning because we said, look, we just want to be like the IT department for the industry. we're an open book. You guys keep telling us the things that you need, and it's our job and our challenge to build it and execute it in a way that doesn't overwhelm the system and people can keep running their companies off their cell phone, and not need a supercomputer to do it. So that's the real art in developing good, robust software,
Mm.
is that you don't overcomplicate it as it gets more and more comprehensive.
So moving on with the software side of things, can it get any better than it is? And we hear a lot about AI, and can that be any part of
Mm.
that, or is that completely separate at all?
No, no, it's all part of it, and we're growing it every day. I think right now we've got a pretty good system in place for gathering requests from the community. So when you say, can it get better? Yeah, we have probably 400 things, and I'm not exaggerating, like 400 requests. A lot of those will get collapsed once we get into it, any particular component. But it's 400 little nuancy requests that we get. Like we catalog everything. We are great listeners as a company, you know. And Joe, you probably know it. I mean, we got the private
Yeah.
Facebook group, and we're very accessible online. We got lots of video meeting channels and the live chat and all this stuff. But yeah, that's a very robust system for us just to manage the requests and catalog them properly. So yeah, Dale, we got big plans. Like we're doing some big things on our own roadmap. Um, but then we get all these little nuanced use cases that come in. And we'd never in a million years think of it on our own. It
Yeah.
has to come from feet on the street
Mm.
experiencing something, right? And they ask us, can you fix this? Can you address this? And it's like, I never even knew that was a thing.
Yeah.
But we just, sit down and strategize and figure it out, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah,
What?
it's always improving. But I tell you, Joe, you brought this up too. Like there's a real method to the madness in developing a system like this, and any system that's going to be new and tackle an unmet need. And I learned this, in my early career doing Kuma Care actually. So this goes way back. The doctors weren't mousing around. They weren't using Windows. They were
Mm.
friggin' typing and arrow keys to move stuff around on forms. That was their world, right? So when I went to Tom, my brother, about building Kumacare to automate this process of care around anticoagulation, of course, he was like, he went straight to Windows. And I said, no, man, you can't build this thing in Windows. None of the docs are using Windows. They're still using these DOS programs. So he's like, what? I got to build this in DOS? So you went back. So, I mean, he's making a friggin', 3.5-inch floppy disk type of deal, to load onto these computers. It was insane. But what I learned from that was, you know, it's like the analogy of like if you could magically drop the space shuttle on the beach for the Wright brothers, they wouldn't know what to do with that thing. They'd have no idea how to fly that thing, right? They have no idea. So it's like when you're building something new, you have to meet your customers kind of just ahead of where they're at. You can't go too far ahead or nobody's going to warm up to the idea. You kind of have to meet them just a little ahead of where they're at, and then be careful about the rate of evolution of the system to keep building and building and building to kind of turn it into what you want it to be as a developer. But you can't do it at such a pace that you wipe everybody out in the process. So super careful about how we go about developing and introducing new things, especially big things.
Yeah. So what was one thing that you just heard so many details wanting for the software to like have, and you guys are just like, we need to implement this, like, because so many people
It,
are asking for it.
it was the online booking because that's a super
Okay.
complicated thing to execute, and there's really no systems out there that do it. Like these general booking things online, they can't handle the nuance. They
Yeah.
freaking they just cannot do it.
Yeah.
It needs to be something that's really built to the purpose. So that was the big one. And then I think it would probably be the inspections and approvals to cover their
Mm.
butts. Because, it only takes one bad experience and somebody, they charge you back on your credit card for like $1,000 or something, because they claim you scratched something. It only takes one of those bad experiences for you to really feel burned. So we wanted to make sure we really buttoned that up and we protected you guys from that type of customer behavior because we all have crappy customers. It's going to happen. But we wanted to make sure we protected everybody from that kind of bad behavior.
Can you,
Yeah, right.
Joe, I'm not sure if when you had it, did you have like a paint declaration side of things with PPF? Can you add that in, or can you add your own
Oh yeah,
documents
yeah.
into it? Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's whatever you want to put in, it's fully customizable. So whatever services you do, it can take. And I mean, we've got full-on customization shops, tuning shops, not just detailers that use it now.
Mm.
It gets used all throughout kind of the automotive spectrum right now. Even though we built it specifically for, I'll call it detailing in a broad sense, but it gets used all kinds of ways.
Hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like a mechanical shop, this could slot in perfectly for because they hold cars for a
Yeah,
long time. And
for the front end side of it, dealing with customers, it's absolutely great. So a lot of repair shops will use it for that. Like they use some
mm,
other system to get like their estimation tools, like how much does it take to change the starter on a '84 Buick or whatever.
yeah,
They have systems for that, but then they put everything into Urable and just manage the customer experience because it makes them look good. You know.
it's interesting because when I first started the business, I was just operating literally out of a book diary. And my wife at the time was managing a salon and a hair salon. And so she was like, you should use this. Like, and I think it was Simple Salon at the time. And it very similar layout, like jobs, columns and rows and stuff, and did the same thing because hair salons are quite similar. They got bays and they have
Yep.
like, not to get too nerdy on this, but I kind of have to know this, but like when you're getting a full hair color, they do the treatment first and like they need to let it sit. And so that hairdresser will go do something else while the apprentice will do something to it. So there's a lot of moving things. And so it's kind of similar to detailing. Um, and then so I will using a hair salon software in a detailing shop. And then I think we moved to Timely, which was another one, but it was a bit prettier. And then I found you guys with your story. I saw the Your Able stories on YouTube. Can you explain to the listeners what that is about? Is some dude gets around in an Audi R8 with Your Able on it, and he goes and talks to businesses who are now using Your Able and kind of they give their testimony. So, can you tell us about that and how effective that was too?
Yeah, we love the whole Your Story, documentary series. And this was really us giving back to the community. Like we don't charge anybody for that time, but we pay
Yeah,
for
cool.
that fully. And yeah, it's a big, big commitment. The team that we use to film this, they've won 3 Academy Awards now. It's not kidding around. Again, it fits
Wow.
with our theme, right? If I do something, I'm really going all in. These guys are fantastic cinematographers and filmmakers. Um, so it was Chris's idea to do this Your Story thing because she kept hearing, as kind of a customer facing person at our company, she kept hearing these unbelievable entrepreneurial stories that people would share with her while were talking about Your Able. They just share these unbelievably personal accounts of what the system has meant to them, like personally,
Cool.
not just business wise, but what it's done for their lives, right? And, Chris said, God, we should really think about, highlighting some of these things. We're really making an impact on people's lives. And we came up with the Your Story. It fits perfectly with Your Able. So it's the Your Story documentary series where we go out and we meet with entrepreneurs and we give them a platform to share their journey. A lot of them are coming off difficult situations, maybe substance abuse problems, or they got mental health issues, which drove them into entrepreneurialism, right? They couldn't cope with a corporate environment. That just wasn't their thing. So we started to just talk to people. And I paid particular attention to people and what they were going through online. This was the earlier days when we only had, maybe 1,000 customers. I can't do it now. It's hard. Um, but I could really pay close attention to who's having kids or who's, having struggles in their marriage based on what they're putting online. And that's how we initially reached out to people and said, hey, we're thinking about doing this Your Story documentary thing. We'd like to come out and really hear your story because we think you can inspire other people that are going through similar challenges. And that was the whole kind of impetus behind it, was to really try and find people that could share their individual, challenges and successes to try and inspire others that might be struggling at the time to really understand, geez, I'm not alone out here. Because you know how it is as an entrepreneur. It gets lonely. So we wanted to let people know that they're not alone.
Mm.
So that's how we started doing those, and we've done 3 seasons of these your stories. We just did 2 more actually when we were down at MTE earlier this year. So those will be getting published here in the next couple of months.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, we really love that. That's a passion project for us.
Yeah, awesome.
So for anyone like in Australia here, because you're being an American-based company, how would like if setting up wise, like because I haven't used your product at all, so setting it up, is it how could if people are struggling, can they get help to set that up, or how would
Oh,
that
for
process
sure.
look?
Yeah. And we've got ten people on the team now. So you guys we let you go ahead and book whatever times are going to work well for you to do like a video session like this. Because this tends to be much better than like a phone call kind of thing
Yeah.
because you could do screen sharing and, we can see what you're seeing and then we can flip the screen around. You can see what we're doing. It just helps with the onboarding and that's all free. We offer this stuff at no charge. You guys can get as much help as you want. And then we've got the live chat, which is pretty much running all the time. Like if you guys reach out to us and it's the middle of our night, we'll get that thing first thing in the morning. Like I tend to be the one that gets up at like 4:30 or so, so I'm dealing with a lot of the Australian users that came in overnight and the European users that are just getting going. And then the kids kind of take it and then they run late to deal with like the folks in Hawaii, because, they're like 6 hours different than us on the East Coast.
Yeah.
So it's a real challenge, being kind of global now, to deal with this. But, we pride ourselves on our ability to give everybody VIP treatment.
Yeah.
Yeah, the live chat was seriously a great feature because you'd have an issue or something you're not sure about, and that you can't find the answers of through all your videos that you have, which was quite rare. And you'd go to the live chat and think, oh yeah, I'll probably hear back from them in like 10 hours or 24 hours, but it'd be like really quickly, and we'd know if you're online or offline. And when you're
Right.
online, you guys would respond like within like 10 minutes, like it was very
Yeah.
quick. And when down here in Australia, sometimes when you're dealing with a service that's not based here, it's probably even worse when it is based here, to be honest, like Telstra and things. But when it's like they're based in America, you kind of think, oh, I'm probably going to be like a second class citizen, like they won't get back to me for a long time. It has like that premise, but yeah, you guys really are awesome with that. That was a really great feature, and something I loved about it.
Yeah,
Um,
it's hard. It's a heavy lift, as you can imagine. I mean, we were working our tails off over here, to
yeah,
try and give everybody that VIP treatment. It's not easy.
Yeah,
It's work.
I can imagine. Is there plans to branch out more? I see you've
mm,
been, yeah, Australia, UK, Ireland, New Zealand,
You
Canada, and
know,
all that.
we could pull the trigger in any country we wanted to, quite honestly. Kyle wrote a translation engine into the system, so we can translate the interface into any language on the planet right now. But that is a real like money grab kind of move, and that's just not our vibe. If we can't offer the level of support that we are known for, then we're not going there. So it's like, like we get requests, and I'm not joking, it is every single day from countries asking if, Urable is going to be available in, Bangladesh or Budapest or Egypt, anyway. And it's like, we could do it. I'd be happy to, take your money, but we're not going to do it until we can support it. And I don't speak the
Mm.
language. How am I supposed to help somebody in Italy when I don't speak Italian? And I mean, we could probably muddle through with English, but that's just not our vibe. If we can't do the thing well, then we aren't going to do it just to make a buck. That is not our thing. So we'll have to get feet on the street in these markets to do it. That's a big lift. It creates lots of regulatory challenges and things like that. Um, so I think we're probably going to stay within, English speaking principally, and Spanish because we do have some Spanish speakers on the team that can, adequately help folks in Mexico and Puerto Rico. And there's a lot of Spanish speakers in the United States too. So it's probably going to stay like that until we can get comfortable with, and that's maybe where AI comes in.
Mm.
We've tested a lot of different systems to see. I mean, Google Translate does a pretty decent job in the live chat. Like it'll close caption it and flip what someone is saying in Italian over to English so we can read it.
Wow.
And then we communicate back and then they got to read their closed caption. It converts our English to their Italian. We could do it, but it's choppy.
Yeah.
I like this type of service, So again, it goes to being built for the purpose. And if we're going to be in France, then we should have people that speak French.
Yeah.
It's that
Mm.
simple. Germany, they should speak German.
Yeah. Makes sense.
No, nice. Oh, you got any more there, Joe?
No, that's awesome. Yeah, I think I got to sign up today.
Yeah. It's funny
And
you
that
say
wasn't
that.
the intention, but like this is yeah, it's just really good. It's so good.
It's funny you say about the
Well,
automated text messages the other day. My wife was saying about one. Funny enough, I booked a job in for what was it, February, and the same dates clashed with March. I just didn't say which month, and he dropped the cars around a month early, and she's like, "You probably need to send like a text message when they're booking in and giving them all this info." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's more work."
Yeah.
yeah. Well, and I mean, doing PPF, you can really, I mean, there's very sophisticated things built into the system behind the scenes, like managing your inventory and how much film you're using on any particular car, and just measuring, like you're making sure that you're charging appropriately. Like the system calculates out your profit analysis to make sure that your pricing supports your operation.
Yeah.
So it's all that little stuff behind the scenes that most people probably don't even expect that it does, but it's doing it on your behalf,
Mm.
just to make sure that you set yourself up for success as an entrepreneur. Um,
No,
because how the customer experience is freaking everything nowadays. I just saw this map. This was just a funny thing that hit me on Facebook. It was like a map, and they had pins all throughout the UK for every pub in the UK. So you can imagine this was like it was nothing but pins. The whole entire country was nothing but pins. And I'm like, and detailers think that they got a saturated market,
Yeah.
like in the United States. And I'm like, here's pubs every 10 feet, and down the street. Like, what is determining who makes it and who doesn't? It's not the product, is it? They all got drafts. They're all serving Guinness and, Smittix and
Yeah.
whatever else, right? They all got the same stuff. It is the customer experience that determines who's going to win and who's going to lose. And it's no different in detailing.
Mm.
Mm.
Everybody gripes about, oh, there's a cheaper guy down the street. Who gives a crap what he's charging? You create your own experience and don't be bashful about charging for it. If
Mm.
you've invested and created a great skill base, you're excellent at PPF, charge for it. Don't be giving that stuff away. You spent the time to learn and give your customer the professional, experience that makes it worth it to them. It isn't rocket science at the end of the day. Customer experience is the thing that always wins and keeps people coming back.
Yeah,
So true.
100%. Yep.
Yeah. So where's the best place for someone in Australia to go to check Urable? Oh, almost said it wrong then, sorry.
Yep,
Uh,
Urable.com. That's got all the
yeah.
stuff in it. You can sign up for a free trial there. You can get a demo. We're still running our special that we started at SEMA, actually. So we believe so much in the value of getting people in front of us during the free trial period. Like we give everybody 30 days, but we believe in the value of getting people in front of us so much that we will give you your first month for $1 after you subscribe if you're willing to get on a 15-minute demo. Because
Okay.
we know as soon as you see it and you spend just a little bit of time and effort on it, you are going to subscribe. So it's worth it to us to
Yeah.
say, meet us for 15 minutes and we'll give you your first month for $1.
That's really good because sometimes people who aren't very tech savvy will load it up and be like, "Oh, this is just too hard. I don't have the time to do this." And they kind of just throw it into too hard basket. But then just invest 15 minutes, get a quick run through, be like, "Oh, I can actually, yeah, this is pretty straightforward." There's a high chance that they'll actually, use it to suit their business well. That's awesome.
Yeah, if you're gonna subscribe, use it. That's the whole thing. You want to make sure you max it out. Use it for all it's worth. It's saving you tons of money. It makes you money. That's the thing. That's why almost everybody's on Pro and Enterprise because it makes them money.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
awesome.
automatic upsells, tips. It's amazing. I don't know how tips are for you guys, but tips are huge over here in the United States.
Yeah, nah, no tips here.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
pretty
Well, we had
rare.
one of our guys, he said he collected $100,000 in tips in 2024. And he's like,
Wow.
that's like a salary and then some. And he
Oh
said
yeah.
that goes all to his team, right? So that's 100 grand extra compensation that he didn't have to pay and to keep his team happy. That's
Wow.
awesome.
That
You
is
guys should
cool.
start warming up to tips.
Telling me. That'd be great.
I think might upset a few with the cost of living already.
Yeah.
Oh man, we're all feeling it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Oh, Michael, this has been awesome. So, yeah, everyone knows where to go now. Like, yeah, Urable.com. So, thanks for your time, mate.
Hey,
It's
thanks
been
for
good.
having me on, and thanks for getting up early, you guys.
No, it's
Pleasure.
no dramas. So, yeah, hopefully everyone jump on board and go and check it out. And yeah, I think it's definitely something to look at. That's for sure. So,
Hmm.
if you're not
There's a
already,
bunch
And
of
if we get big
guys
enough,
in
if we
Australia
get
that use it.
if we get big enough in Australia, my team is telling me we gotta fly over and maybe do some of your stories around Australia.
yep,
Yeah,
yeah, that'd be cool.
absolutely. That'd be great. Well, you said before you recorded, there's like at least 70 businesses using Urable in Australia, and that's a lot of detailing businesses. So
Yeah, it's
that's
like
really cool.
70 or 80. I can't remember the number right
Yeah,
off.
yeah,
Yeah, so I mean it's growing, you
yeah.
know.
Mm.
Fantastic.
No, you just got to put up with the long haul flight. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all right. They're on me. They make me put them up in the pods anyway. They'd be drinking champagne the whole way over.
No dramas. Oh, Michael, thanks heaps again, mate. That's been awesome. So, yeah, everyone
Thanks
go
for
and,
having me.
yep, absolutely. All right. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, mate.
We'll chat soon, everyone. Cheers.
That was another episode of the Detailing Down Under podcast. Subscribe now for everything auto detailing in Australia.